So as I was saying, this is probably part 2. I'm trying to do it a little bit more efficiently so I don't bore you guys as well. But basically, you know, it's like playing a game with oneself and knowing that, okay, these things are going to happen, and it's been happening way before I got here, way before I incarnated, and there's a reason behind it. You know, if we can get all of the powerful, psychic, cognitive, truly gifted, naturally gifted beings to doubt their worth, to doubt their journey, to doubt their beauty, to doubt, you know, everything, doubt, then not only can we transfer that energy into something that can be for a greater good or a means of manipulation, because this is often what ends up happening. Like right now, you know, there's this quiet hub of it's okay to have black body, meaning, you know, you can have black beautiful bosoms, and, you know, our bodies are so, you know, coveted, but yet still we're always shown through imagery that this can only work really well, or you're only going to be really accepted and loved if it's on really white skin. And that can be like, oh no, that's not the case, but that's what we're shown. You know, even entertainers, even movie stars, you know, there's a general kind of consensus that, you know, if you side or if you align yourself with anything that is non-black, that's Caucasian, you'll not only secure your funds economically, but you'll almost be trusted, you know. And it's like, oh my gosh, how can you say that? Well, you know, how is it that 95% of black actors or black people that have ascended in great, you know, economic or roles or whatever have money, you know? How is it that they most of the time are with white women? You know, it's like, well, you know, after a couple of times, it's no longer just a general happenstance. This is happening more frequently. I don't know if the shade, if you can see, this is happening more frequently than we sometimes like to give credit. And, you know, it kind of sends a message to black people that, you know, it's not wise to procreate with your own. And if you do, you're going to have a lot of problems. So like this woman in Brazil, of course, she's with, you know, a white man. And it's not to say that they are not a beautiful couple. You know, I do think that, you know, couples that attract one another just based on love and wanting to support and wanting to be there for one another is a one-of-a-kind thing, and it should be celebrated. But what's so sad is that I think that, you know, black women, especially of a darker hue, end up attracting the opposite, because, you know, if this is happening to our people, then it's affecting the men as well as it is the women. And if men are being raised by women that don't necessarily enjoy being black, enjoy having a nationality, don't even know that they come from something, because, you know, as time goes on, we know that there is no black flag, there is no, I mean, we can say, hey, red, black, and green, it represents this, that, and the third, but there is no black America. So you even have to ask yourself, how did these things come to play, where now it's like, you know, we don't necessarily, everybody can be and have a nationality and come from someplace, but us as black people only have slavery as our main conduit to be a safeguard or something that we can associate ourselves with. And that is not the case, you know. But again, if imagery and if certain things through movies, through video, through all of our what we consider to be icons, we're now noticing that they are even taking this pill or this contract of, you know, having to look lighter. You know, we see it every day. Even in, you know, I've gotten a lot of comments about this Beyonce video, and even in that, it's just to say that, you know, people place a lot of faith and a lot of investment in things that are not real. And, you know, Beyonce, not to sidebar, a great entertainer, but Beyonce has never taken a political stance or has never used her platform to educate or to speak about anything opinion-wise coming from her own, you know, her own voice box or her own core being. You know, it'll be done in very small, you know, subtextual ways, like the song that she just put out, but that wasn't ever backed or coupled by, hey, I think Asiatic men are beautiful, and the reason why, I was attracted to Jay-Z is because X, Y, and Z. They're just these small statements almost to resurrect or to keep us so enthralled in something that is really not backed by anything and it's not real. And what I mean by that is, like, Beyonce, or women like some women like this, because I don't even just really want to focus on her, but I want to focus on women that are bred for a certain core result. She's an entertainer. She was trained to be that, and because of that, I don't think that she's ever had the confidence or was ever given the permission slip to say, hey, I can actually have an opinion and not necessarily be ostracized from society. We have seen a lot of people that do take stances, go through certain things, but when you have certain platforms, it's almost like a golden ticket on some Willy Wonka steez to be able to use it to just communicate. No one knows about me in that sense, and for me, it's like it doesn't matter anymore. I want to be able to take a moment in time and just remind women, especially young girls, that it's so sad when our friends sometimes say to us, wow, you're so pretty for a black girl. You've heard it, and we hear these things all the time, but what it does is go, wow, what would I be told if I was lighter? And you've got to repel that. You've got to almost know that that's going to come, because that is what is being seen in the forefront. But behind every screen, there's a silver lining, and behind every storm, there's a rainbow. So we have to remember that there's got to be a reason that this is happening systemically. And the reason is because there is something so sacred that people don't want to talk about. It's like historic icons that are passed over in history. People often don't even know what Moors are, or who Noble Jew Ali was. Shout outs to, of course, Asir, and for all of the other major contributors of our time, of this contemporary time, that have not forgotten our past, but have also been able to speak in a very palpable way for young folk and for people of our generation to understand that even what we were taught in, African American studies and all these things were taught in a certain way for a certain reason. And rather than get into a historical diatribe, I really just wanted to say that there really is no equation on how to maintain happiness. It's almost as though, like right now, I find like little pockets of space that I can be in nature, and I can be with my own thoughts, and I can just either listen to music and breathe for a little while and know that things that are being flung at me have nothing to do with me per se, and I don't have to necessarily catch all of that debris. And it's to kind of know your worth and your value, and saying that, hey, I always think, like, people don't talk really altruistically because this is such a physically based reality, but I always say, there's always even if you don't believe in spirits and in the creator, and it's like the smarter we're getting, the dumber people are becoming as well. But I say that to say that I personally am cool with people believing in what they want to believe in, and I'm not necessarily here to galvanize or to try to get people to think the way that I've learned. But for me, there's always more than one way to look at things, and I'm always like, well, there's got to be a hereafter, or I'm not talking about an afterlife or karma. I'm talking more about rewards that often aren't seen in the physical reality, or often aren't given to us in money. I often think that darker skinned women, or women with a greater hue, are also, we have such a responsibility, because we're so coveted and we're so hated on in so many ways. But the same way that happens, there's also so many that will still celebrate our beauty, and that if we remind ourselves to do it, that it will be almost this instant magnet of greatness and goodness. And if you believe that, then it will be true. I often am so grateful for all that I have attracted, but a lot of it is because There's a part of me that, you know, really sits and revels in the sunlight. There's a part of me that is remembering and that knows, hey, this is a conduit, and this is a way that I can almost close my eyes. You know, like how when you dream, you're in one place, but you can be and coexist in all places at once. That is what melanin allows one to do. It's like in that movie Dune, being able to travel without moving. You know, there's so much magic, and there's so much, of course, you know, greatness. You know, our skin, I'm gonna be 39 this year and I still get carded. So, you know, I'm starting to think of these things as blessings in disguise. And, you know, even though, you know, society reminds us and says to us on so many different levels, you know, lighten your skin, bleach your hair, you know, all of our entertainers like Beyonce, you know, we see her not necessarily speaking up and saying, hey, don't lighten my pictures. You know, I don't necessarily want to wear a blonde weave. You know, blonde wigs and blonde extensions and weaves are the it thing. And what it does is it also sends a message to black men, like, that is what is popping. That's what is attractive, you know. Let me stop this again and come back in.